light shed today on the horrific killing of 8 people in Joliet.
Yeah, police are retracing the path of the killer to his death in Texas.
Nate Rogers has been tracking the tragedy in Will County from the beginning. Nate.
We've been in contact with the victims' family members as well as their colleagues, many still too distraught to speak on camera at this time. We also now know for sure the relation of those victims to the suspect. The Will County coroner identifying the victims as the suspect's mother, 47-year-old Romeo Nance, his aunt, 38-year-old Christine Esters, who's a corrections officer at the Joliet Treatment Center. Also killed 35-year-old William Esters, the suspect's uncle. Also 31-year-old Joshua Nance, his brother who was bedridden. Finally, the suspect's 3 sisters, 20-year-old Alexandria Nance, 16-year-old Alana Nance, and 14-year-old Angel Nance, all shot to death.
We can't get inside his head. We just don't have any clue as to why he did what he did.
Hey YouTube, welcome back. My name is Blue, and for those who don't know, I'm a police officer in Miami with 10 years of experience. For those of you who have been here before, you'll know we're currently doing a series on prolific mass shooting cases. But today, I wanted to get a video out to you guys about a very recent one. Today we'll be talking about Romeo Nance, the man who murdered 7 of his family members and shot 2 other strangers as well. Our goal today is to go over what led up to the event itself, and how it was handled afterwards. Now, because this is still an ongoing case, we won't have access to all of the info we normally would, but we'll do our best without. So as the facts are coming out, let's go over a very brief background of what we do know about our suspect. Romeo Alexander Nance is a 23-year-old man who resides in Joliet, Illinois. From the reports that have been released, Nance is said to have been arrested several times prior to this. Let's take a look at his record quickly. Nance had been previously arrested last year for a shooting that took place on January 3rd, 2023. In this case, Nance was alleged to have shot a firearm at a woman's vehicle multiple times, following a road rage incident. On January 6th of the same year, Nance was arrested for the crime, and found with the same loaded firearm in the car. Sources report that he was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated discharge of a firearm, aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, reckless discharge of a firearm, and obstructing an officer. Incredibly enough, Nance was released on bond on March 10th, 2023, and was awaiting trial. But why was a man who was a clear danger to the community even released? And if he was, why was he not placed on house arrest and strict monitoring? Some have blamed Illinois' switch to an entirely cashless bail system, but that did not take place until September of 2023. Regardless, Illinois is notorious for their soft stance on crime and releasing violent repeat offenders. Nance's upcoming court date was set for February 1st of this year, an appearance he will no longer make. In 2019, Nance was arrested for 2 counts of armed robbery after holding 2 men at knife point. One of these men actually knew Nance, which would lead to his eventual identification and arrest. According to the Illinois statutes, armed robbery is a Class X felony, and depending on the circumstances, Nance was facing anywhere from 6 to 30 years for each of the 2 charges. Now, for unknown reasons, these charges would be dropped, and Nance would instead be offered a plea deal for having a felony amount of marijuana on his person at the time of the arrest. For this, Nance would be given time credit for the 29 days he served in jail, and would be released on 2 years of probation. Let's talk about this travesty of justice. Here are 2 reasons this could have happened. Reason number 1. The robbery victims were difficult to get to show up to court, generally not being what we refer to as good victims. In this case, the state attorney would try to get the suspect to plead to a lesser charge, like the possession of cannabis. Reason number 2, also likely, given today's state of the justice system, is that the state attorney decided to offer this plea deal in order to avoid having to incarcerate Nance for any amount of time. This happens all the time, and for those of you crime nerds out there who watch things like Court Cam or any other YouTube crime channels that show criminal sentencing, I'm sure you see how often criminals are given incredibly lenient sentences. I can promise you, this happens way more than any of you know, unless you're involved in the legal system in some way. Especially in the case of juveniles, it's impossible to actually get someone put in prison for anything short of rape or murder. I'll give a real-life example from my own experience in a future video. In addition to this, Nance would also receive institutional charges while he was locked up, such as damaging a cell window and battery. However, he would eventually be bailed out by either his sister or the mother of his child. Joliet police have released body cam footage of Nance being arrested for the aggravated assault charge. This footage gives us a glimpse into Nance's life and the attitudes of those around him towards his criminality. In it, we'll see Nance resist arrest, and people who are reported to be his girlfriend and mother scream at police, even after Nance resists arrest and try to get away. Without knowing anything about these people, just based on the footage here, I get a strong feeling Nance was never held accountable for his actions, especially by his own family. This is incredibly common today, and in my opinion is a major contributor as to why criminality is so common in today's world. So let's take a look at the video.
You have a warrant. You're under arrest. Put your hand behind your back. Hand behind your back. Hold his hand. Hold his hand. Hey, back up. Stay over there. Hold on.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a warrant.
Stop clenching, man.
He doesn't have a warrant. No, he doesn't. Who do you think he is?
Romeo Nance.
No, bro.
You got anything on him?
He doesn't have a warrant, bro.
Relax. Stop telling us that. Yes, he does.
Okay.
Get back.
Let's pause here. The woman screaming is alleged to be Nance's girlfriend. She repeatedly screams he does not have a warrant, as if that is somehow going to make the officers go away. She also would have no idea whether or not Nance has a warrant, even though it would not be unbelievable for someone with Nance's criminal record to have one. At this time, Nance is handcuffed and is under arrest, and so officers begin to search him, while also trying to calm this woman down.
Not that big of a deal, dude.
Bro, he's going to a leg appointment, bro.
Hey, okay. Relax. Listen.
No.
It's not that big. Let us do our job and we'll talk to you. All right, come on.
Let us do our job. You guys are started. Hey, the police are over here taking Romeo. I don't know. They say he has a warrant. Do you have a search warrant?
No, stop.
Yes, we do.
Hey, let us, hey.
Bro, leave him alone.
Stop it.
Hey, keep that, just don't keep everyone away from the car.
Hold on. Send them. Tag 3. Send us a marked unit with a cage over here, please.
Hey, don't go near them. Stay over here. Come over here.
First of all,
Okay, come over here,
show me
please.
the warrant. Show me the warrant.
Okay, I don't have it on me. Okay?
Show me the warrant. Show me.
Well,
Show me now.
We're a little busy right now, okay?
No, show me now.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to wait.
Go. No, you can't me a warrant.
Yes, we can.
No, you cannot.
Yes, we can.
Let me call.
Okay, go ahead.
Stop.
Grab my phone. It's on the credenza.
You good?
Look at the stunning lack of accountability on display here. No one on scene cares at all what he did, what he's wanted for, or how he is currently resisting. In the minds of the friends and family, Nance hasn't done a thing wrong, and quite honestly, they likely don't care that he did. All that matters is this mindset that the police are the bad guys. Now, officers begin to search Nance's car, while the same woman continues to scream at them, asking if they have a search warrant. Officers advise her that they indeed do, and as they try to search, Nance makes an attempt to run away, making it several feet before being taken to the ground. While officers are attempting to deal with this, a woman who's reported to be his mother shows up on scene, demanding a warrant, which officers say they will show to her in a little while.
Hey, 32. 32. There it goes. Extended one in the mag.
Good.
One in the chamber, I mean.
Now, in Florida, and perhaps Illinois too, no search warrant would be needed in this case. This vehicle was used in the commission of a felony, as reported by the victim of the shooting. Simply because of that, officers have a legal right to tow the car. And when we have to tow a vehicle, we can inventory the inside of the vehicle, which also would have resulted in the discovery that comes next. However, it's always a good idea to get a warrant. As you can see, officers would find the firearm used to shoot at this woman multiple times, same one that fired a round through her driver's side door, nearly hitting her. After his arrest, Nance would be given a $100,000 bond. He would be bonded out by a family member. For those who don't know, in most cases, unless a judge specifies otherwise, a person only needs to come up with 10% of the bond to get out. This can even be done by signing over the rights to a car or a home as collateral. Safe to say, regardless of whether it was because of the victims or the state, if Nance had been convicted on those armed robbery charges, he would never have been able to shoot at that woman or take the lives of 8 people. Even if he had actually served a prison sentence instead of getting 2 years of probation on the marijuana charge, those lives could have been saved. But what you're seeing on full display is the consequence of a weak justice system that does whatever it can to keep criminals free. So, how did this tragedy unfold? Remember, Facts are still, as of yet, to be fully released, but we do have an idea based on statements from both the Will County Sheriff's Office and the Joliet Police Department. I'll do my best to build a coherent timeline, so let's get started. January 21st, 2024, 4:15 p.m. Romeo Nance drives by a 42-year-old man who was getting items out of his car in the 200 block of Davis Street in Joliet. Nance briefly stopped, and the two exchanged words before Nance drives away. After the man crossed the street, Nance returned from the other direction and began to fire multiple times, striking the man in the leg before driving away. Multiple rounds also hit the man's home, but it is unclear if anyone else was inside at this time. Also unknown as of now is Nance's relationship to this victim, but police believe it was random. Here's the video of what appears to be a totally unprovoked shooting. Around 10 minutes later, the Will County Sheriff's Office would respond to the Pheasant Run Apartments complex in Preston Heights, where officers discovered a 28-year-old Toyosi Bakar with a gunshot wound to his head. Bakar was transported to a local hospital, where he later died from his injuries. In the weeks since the shooting, police have stated that they believe Bakar and Nance are connected in some way. The investigative steps in this case were pretty straightforward, and officers were fortunately able to get Nance's vehicle and license plate from security footage in both incidents. In earlier times, without cameras or witnesses, this would have been much harder to solve. Cameras have truly been a godsend for fighting crime. After the sheriff's office was able to identify Nance, they attempted but were unable to locate Nance or his vehicle. Deputies then set up surveillance near his home in the 2200 block of West Acres Road in Joliet around midnight. After about 12 hours with no activity in the homes, deputies approached and spotted blood outside. Due to this, deputies were able to force entry into the homes to do a welfare check. Tragically, inside they would discover 47-year-old Tamika Nance and 35-year-old William Esters II, dead of gunshot wounds. The sheriff's office then contacted the Joliet Police Department as this was in their jurisdiction. Police then checked a second house on the same block because it was inhabited by some of Nance's other known family members. Yet another tragic scene awaited them. Inside, they found 37-year-old Christine Esters, 31-year-old Joshua Nance, 20-year-old Alexandria Nance, 14-year-old Angel Nance, and 16-year-old Alana Nance, all dead from gunshot wounds. In a statement given by police, they claimed it is now believed that Nance killed the 7 family members, before then shooting the 42-year-old man and Bakar. So what happens next, after this horrific discovery? Well, officers began an intense investigation, starting with the mother of Nance's 3-year-old child, Likley Cleveland Singleton. Singleton came to speak to officers at the station, and according to police, while there, gave statements in an attempt to throw police off of Nance's trail and impede their ability to track him down and arrest him. One of these being that she claimed she did not know Nance's phone number, which if police had, would allow them to track his phone with a warrant. It was proven during the investigation that she did know his number, and she was then charged and arrested with obstructing a police investigation. If this is true, it's sickening that she would try to cover up for a man who had just shot 9 people, killing 8 of them, 7 being his own family. Now, officers were able to track Nance in some way, and I believe based on my own experience, that they were tracking his license plate for hits on any red light cameras, license plate readers, or toll systems nationwide. It seems Nance knew about this, as police stated that Nance stole a license plate off of a vehicle at a mall. Now, police have not released where they believe Nance was going, but considering he left Illinois for Texas, he may have been following the old trope of going to Mexico, believing he would either not be extradited or he could more easily disappear. Somehow, the U.S. Marshals, after a manhunt, located him at a gas station near Natalia, Texas on January 22nd. If I had to guess, they were either finally able to track his phone or possibly used his credit card to track him. Another possibility is that citizens called in to report him when they recognized him, but since this information has not been released, we can only speculate. In either event, initial reports would indicate that when he was approached by the marshals, Nance fled on foot a short distance before shooting himself with his own gun, bringing a sudden end to the life of this monster. Cases like this are sad. While all murders are tragic, cases like this, where nearly an entire family's lives are ended, are especially so. And when the suspect is either killed or commits suicide, we almost all share a feeling that justice was not served, especially considering that we may never know why Nance did this. What would lead him to kill 7 family members, before shooting 2 other men, seemingly at random? Sadly, we may never know. This case happened in a very close time frame to another tragic family slaying in Tinley Park, where a 63-year-old man shot and killed his wife and 3 daughters, before calling the police and turning himself in. We live in a world filled with shockingly evil people, yet to hear about 2 family slayings so close together is just tragic. Anyways, that's the end, for now at least, about our coverage of this case. If you're new here, we're currently doing a series on notorious mass shooting incidents, where we cover the incident, the police response, and what, if anything, could have been done to stop them. If you like that sort of thing, check out my previous videos, and subscribe to stay up to date on more. I'll be doing my best to get a new video up weekly for you guys, and next week's will be a really interesting one. I hope to see you all back, and as always, stay safe and stay tuned.